Bishop McClendon, is it all right to start? I don't do anything without Trish's permission. Duty, honor, country. Good afternoon. My name is John Moe, and together with Mike Devine, Mike, would you please stand? We are the Coast Scout Masters at Troop 507. On behalf of our community in general and Troop 507, thank you for being here today. Today we have the pleasure of witnessing 4 young men. Craig McLaren Swan, would you please stand? Dylan Powell, Timothy Park, and Jack Robinson reached the pinnacle of scouting and formally received the rank of Eagle Scout. Before we begin, I would like to welcome all the special guests who are here today. And those special guests consist of the parents of these 4 scouts. Would the parents please stand? Few scouts make Eagle without the support of their parents. These scouts had the support of their parents and succeeded. Let's give the parents a round of applause. Troop 507 would not be the success it is without the work of our Assistant Scoutmasters. Would all the Assistant Scoutmasters for Troop 507, whether past or present, please stand so we can give you a round of applause along with Mrs. Bennett. Stand up. Please stand for the presentation of the colors. I call forward our Senior Patrol Leader, Jacob Park.
Good afternoon. We will now have the presentation of the color. Color guard, please advance. Color guard, cross the colors. Scout salute. Color guard, prepare to pose. Pose. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Color guard, dismiss.
By the authority vested in me as a representative of the Greater Los Angeles Area Council and the National Council, Boy Scouts of America, I declare this Eagle Scout Court of Honor convened. Will all these scouts in the audience please remain standing? The rest of the audience can be seated.
Scout signs.
Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent.
On my honor.
I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. 2.
Thank you, Jacob. Scouts, please be seated. Today we are here to honor 4 scouts: Craig McLaren Swan, Dylan Powell, Timothy Park, and Jack Robinson. But this is not the first time they've been recognized before a court of honor. 6 times before, they have stood. First, when they received their scout badge, then each time they earned another rank, leading to Eagle. And each time they seemed taller, stronger, more dedicated to the ideals of scouting. Let's take a moment to reflect back on the steps they took on the path to Eagle Scout. Would the scouts please come forward to explain the rise to Eagle rank?
As a new scout, as a new Boy Scout, I have only just started working hard on patrol. With the first step, I have begun my journey to grow up physically, mentally, and morally. Have just learned but to live a Scout open law.
As a tenderfoot, the 3 points on my badge stand for the 3 parts of the Scout Oath. You find me on the mariner's compass, forever pointing the way to the North Star and a safe journey in life. There are 2 stars representing truth and knowledge, a shield, which is the emblem of a nation, molded together in justice, and an eagle to guard the freedom of my land.
Second class. As a second class scout, the ends of my scroll are turned up in the willing smile of the scout. Our motto is "Be prepared," and suspended from the scroll is a knot. Tied there to remind you of the slogan of the Boy Scouts of America: "Do a good turn daily."
As a first class scout, I laid my course by the stars of truth and knowledge, and supported myself with the righteousness of justice and freedom. I added a smile that I might be a friend to all, and bound myself together with the knot of duty to others.
As a Star Scout, before me lie unlimited opportunities, just like the stars in the night sky, they can shine as brightly as any.
As a Life Scout, I've shown that scouting is within my heart. I've mastered knowledge of subjects that will benefit my country and my fellow man. I'm ready to spread my wings and fly.
Thank you, Matthew, Colin, Stevie, Jacob, Stephen, and Connor, and Ryan as well here at the back lighting the candles. Let's give these boys a round of applause. You may be seated. Eagle Scout candidates, how many of you were Cub Scouts? Please raise your hand. So many of these boys have been on a 12-year journey. All have been on at least a 7-year journey. Craig, Dylan, Timmy, and Jack have gone through a transformation. From those who struggled to memorize the oath of law to those boys who lived by the Scout oath of law. From boys who wanted to go camping to boys who've been on numerous camping trips. From those who need to be led to boys who can now lead. This is an occasion for pride and joy, as well as a time for serious reflection. The Eagle is the highest recognition that Scouting offers to Scouts. It is earned through the advancement program, and only a small percentage of boys who begin Scouting earn this honor. The wearer of the Eagle is the epitome of Scouting's best efforts and beliefs. Nowhere are the Scouts' best efforts more evident than the Eagle projects that each of these Scouts successfully completed. Craig's Eagle project involved renovating the locker room at the Pasadena Boys and Girls Club. More than 40 volunteer Scouts, friends, and adults participated on the main project day, and Craig led them in repainting both locker rooms. This involved stripping the old paint and murals, prepping the walls with chemicals and cleaners, priming the walls, and finally painting them. Under Craig's leadership, volunteers deep cleaned the shower and laid new anti-slip flooring. Craig then worked with Mr. Crawford on designing, building, and painting custom storage cubby units, which were later installed on site. Dylan's Eagle project involved landscaping, 9 planter areas totaling more than 2,500 square feet in the main corridor of Lacanada Elementary School to be more functional and sustainable. This project involved transplanting plants from places where they did not belong and maybe moving them to more suitable locations. We replaced missing and dying plants, planted Korean grass, planted dwarf nandinas and ferns to cover up the outdoor walls of the classrooms. Dylan also built a planter box for a teacher's first grade class so they could begin growing vegetables. Timothy's Eagle project pertained to renovating a large storage container used by Lackawanna High School music program. The interior of the container was in dire need of replacement, as its plywood shelving had sagged to dangerous levels. With Mr. Crawford's help, Timmy designed and built new shelving from wood and plywood, which was then installed onto the storage container. The tireless efforts of more than 40 scouts, adults, and friends helped Timmy complete this project to perfection. Jack's Eagle project involved the planning and construction of a seed house during COVID-19 at Pahamunga Native Plant Nursery. With the assistance of Mr. Crawford, more than 40 volunteer friends, scouts, and adults generously came out to support Jack and his project. After completion, Jack's seed house currently stands at 16 feet in length, 6 feet in height, and nearly 6 feet in width, along with extra amenities such as sliding barn doors, locks, additional plumbing, and wire mesh placed beneath the seed house to keep animals out. Jack's Eagle project successfully protects native plants from predators as they are propagated and grown from restoration that promotes biodiversity and feeds the native birds, bugs, and wildlife in an ecosystem in a sustainable way. Scout leaders of these Eagle candidates, whom we honor today, have labored long and faithfully to develop them to be alert and participating citizens through the Boy Scout program. Their efforts culminate today in the presentation of the Eagle Scout Awards. But the success of the Scout leaders' efforts will only become evident in the way these Eagle Scouts set a social pattern for those whose lives they touch in the future. Will all the Eagle Scouts in the audience please come forward to the front of the stage? Will our Eagle Scout candidates please now receive the congratulations from these men who are already Eagle Scouts. Let's give these men a round of applause as Eagle Scouts. You may be seated. The 4 Eagle Scout candidates have asked others to speak for them, recounting their accomplishments, not only as they relate to scouting, but also family, school, and community. I'd like to call Lee Blaine to the stage as a parent and mentor to Craig McLaren Swan.
All right. One year, Sid Smith is waiting for the bus that's going to bring her son Zach back from Boy Scout summer camp. Zach gets off the bus with a big grin. Sid asks him the one question each of us ask our scouts when they come back from summer camp. Hey, Zach, what was your favorite thing about summer camp? Zach, without missing a beat, says, Craig! A few years before that, I'm sitting in the back of the troop meeting when I noticed someone new to the troop, and it was Craig. He caught my attention because he had a lot of energy, spoke clearly, and was involved. Around the same time, I met his mom, Patricia. At one of the meetings, I learned that Craig had moved to 507 in search of a more active troop. He came to 507 knowing no one. No childhood friends, no buddies. He just made a decision based on what he wanted, what he saw in the troop, and he took the plunge. In the years that followed, Craig's focus wasn't about rank advancement, but about the fun, the challenges, the skills, and making new friends. These elements not only fostered his love of scouting, but they also became the building blocks of his value system. Craig noticed several older scouts in 507 who took the time to encourage and support younger scouts, and it made such a positive impression on him that when it was his turn, he made sure to be supportive of older scouts and younger troop members. I know this is true from personal experience because right before the lockdown, Troop 507 went to Big Bear so scouts could earn the Snow Sports Merit Badge. My son Houston is an accomplished skier, but he wanted the badge. So once there, though, he learned they let him exchange his ski gear for snowboarding gear. He nails the merit badge, wants to swap the skis for the board, and learn something new. So Craig overhears this, offers to take him up the slope and show him the ropes of snowboarding. Now, he could have spent the afternoon boarding with his buddies, but instead he chose to help a younger scout. If there was a teaching merit badge, Craig could have earned it that day because by the end of it, Houston was shredding with ease. He served many terms as patrol leader. Craig was a life scout when he was elected senior patrol leader, both for Troop 507 and summer camp. During his scouting experience, he attended summer camp for 4 years, and he went camping for a total of 68 nights. He challenged himself on a regular basis to be better and do better, whatever the goal. While only one of the hiking, cycling, or swimming merit badges is required for Eagle rank, Craig earned all 3. Similarly, when given the choice of environmental science or sustainability, and emergency preparedness or life-saving, Craig earned all of them. He had a deep loyalty to his troop and developed strong bonds with many scouts, especially those with whom he shared challenging and fun experiences such as Northern Tier in 2019 and the National Jamboree in 2017. National Jamboree was a pivotal turning point for Craig, both in scouting and in life. On that 3-week trip, Craig committed himself to clean eating, which is by no means an easy task on a Boy Scouting trip, along with daily exercise and quality sleep. When he decided to take responsibility for his physical and mental well-being, Craig never looked back. This change in lifestyle guided his Eagle project because Craig now knew firsthand how kids could benefit living a healthy lifestyle and the changes that can come. He found the ideal opportunity for his project at the Boys and Girls Club of Pasadena, and on that day, he did a masterful job guiding scout and adult volunteers, cleaning, patching, and painting the locker rooms, along with building storage cabins. Scoutmaster John Moe once described Craig as a scout's scout. I'm hard-pressed to think of a better way to describe Eagle Scout Craig McLaren Swan.
David Colbert, would you please come forward to speak in behalf of Dylan?
Hello. Today I'm privileged to make a few comments about Dylan Powell, a young man I've known his entire life. While he has ascended to the honorable level of Eagle Scout, a distinction that he shares with Neil Armstrong, First Man on the Moon, Bill Gates, Steven Spielberg, and several Supreme Court justices, he's also a member of the Order of the Arrow, a self-selecting organization within the Boy Scouts that exemplifies some of the very highest Boy Scout principles. Dylan also achieved 36 merit badges, the World Conservation Award, served as an attendance coordinator, patrol leader, Order of the Arrow representative, quartermaster, assistant senior patrol leader, and worked on 18 different Eagle Scout projects and 14 other community service projects, totaling over 140 hours. This is a true and sincere commitment to service, an impulse that comes only from the heart and the true essence of a fine young man. As a patrol leader, Dylan led his patrol to earn the Presidential Award. Dylan received the Senior Patrol Leader Award after a year of leadership. He attended the National Youth Leadership Training Program, and moved on to the National Advanced Youth Leadership Training Program, all the while accumulating 33 camping trips and 84 nights of camp. Really a breathtaking series of scouting accomplishments. Academically, it's hardly surprising that Dylan is also excelled. Dylan played the cello for 10 years, a very challenging instrument. I had the distinct honor of attending some of his concerts with the La Cañada Advanced Orchestra. He went on to the University of San Diego Orchestra, where he currently attends, as well as the Verdugo Young Musicians Association. And has performed at Disney. He achieved the Certificate of Merit for Music, Level 9 with Branch Honors Plus. Dylan was a California Scholarship Federation recipient and also served as the secretary of the Mini Mission Club, serving homeless by creating sack lunches and hygiene kits. Dylan also participated in beach cleanups as well as volunteering at the Los Angeles Animal Shelter and the Discovery Cube in LA. Dylan also was a volunteer helping to build a Rose Parade building. I'm certain that after this review of a life of service and accomplishment, that you are all also in admiration of a young life already well lived. As I stated at the beginning of my remarks, I've known Dylan since he was born. And even though I'm not surprised by his enormous amount of accomplishments he has achieved at what is just the beginning of his life, I'm just as amazed and so proud of this fine young man because of his character. What is citizenship? Other than a willingness and ability to harness your intelligence and ability, not just to benefit yourself, but also the common field, the common good. While Dylan remains a distinct and frankly amazing individual, he's also contributed so much already in his young life to society at large, and he has certainly been a beacon, an example of what an individual can do to push society forward and to a better place. We are lucky, so very lucky, that young women and men like Dylan still labor to form a better world. The Dylans of the world will change and transform our world, and we are all better for it. Thank you.
Would Dr. Lawrence Chan please come forward? Dr. Chan will speak for Timmy.
Everybody hear me? So my name's Larry Chan. I'm Timmy's uncle. So just as a side, I became an Eagle Scout back in 1987. So 247 back in Cupertino. And I wanted to tell you guys that, you know, and all the stuff that I've done, Scouting and Eagles are my country. So skills learned from responsibility, action, service are something to continue to strive for. So congratulations to all you guys who have received the award, those who have received the award in the past, and those who will receive the award in the future. All right, let's talk about Timmy here. There's a lot of stuff here. So anyways, all right, so Timmy's joined the Cub Scouts as a first grader in La Piñata Elementary School. His dad was led by Philip Clemmer and later his mom, Christine Park. Currently, Harold Light before bridging as a fifth grader in Boy Scout Troop 507. During his time in Boy Scouts, Tim participated in various trips such as summer camp in Camp Cherry Valley, summer camp in Camp Emerald Bay, deep sea fishing, mountain biking, hiking Palm Springs, and canoeing in the Colorado River. He attempted to go Philmont twice for the trips were canceled by wildfire and the COVID-19 pandemic. He was able to go with these fellow scouts on 70-mile canoe trip to Northern Tier in Minnesota. Tim served Troop 507 as patrol leader, historian, and senior patrol leader. His Eagle Scout project consists of rebuilding storage shells in the La Piñata High School music program storage container. Academically, Timmy graduated this week from La Piñata High School. 4.5 rated GPA. He was named a 2021 AP Scholar of Distinction. He was also named a 2022 National Merit Commended Scholar, and he'll be going to UC Berkeley in the fall, studying cognitive science. All right, and more stuff here. So, Timmy participated in many activities in high school. He played varsity baseball for La Piñata High School for 4 years as catcher and first baseman. In 2019, he was named freshman team MVP. 2021, he earned second team All Sky Depth Division second and first team All Field Hondo League. He began playing and also sax as a fourth grader. Played for the La Piñata High School Marching Spartans marching band for 4 years. Served as a lead band captain for the past 2 years. And it was also the high school band for the past 3 years. He was named 2020 and 2021 Outstanding Musician and won the 2021 and 2022 Ariel Award for Outstanding Musicianship and Leadership. He's a the captain of the Lincoln Douglas debate for La Piana High School speech debate team, earned a spot in the 2020 state tournament before it was canceled due to the pandemic. All right, he served as a VP of service for La Piana High School Athletics Leadership Council. He served as a public address announcer and commentator for high school football games during the online broadcast of home football games during the pandemic, as well as when spectators were allowed to watch games in person. He participated in Science National Honor Society for 3 years, and in the 2020 Los Angeles Science Fair, his project earned third place in behavioral sciences and second place for UCLA Research Institute. He also served as an online math tutor for fifth grade students through the Ottawa Learning State Rental Program. So Timothy has learned many outdoor and leadership skills through Boy Scouts and has practiced them in his school life and activities. Very proud of you. I know that you'll be successful.
Will Assistant Scoutmaster Steve Pereira please come forward and speak for Jack?
All right. So when Jack initially approached me to speak on his behalf, I was thrilled, and then the realization set in. I was going to need to recall our many interactions throughout the years. So I got a little nervous. But then Jack and I exchanged a few emails, and the memories started rolling in. I got a little help from my wife, Stacy, reminded me that our family's relationship with Jack and the Richards family, Red Robinson family, actually started quite a few years back, before Troop 507. I don't know if you recall, but you and Mason attended St. James Preschool, along with another scout from Troop 507, Cole Bender. So it was back a pretty long time. So I got a lot of dirt on you. What's wonderful about our community is how our paths cross so many times in our lives as our children grow. And it's been a great adventure watching and participating in Jack's work over time. And I've watched him mature into the fine young man he is today. Jack is the oldest child of Jim and Erica, and a big brother to two younger sisters, Claire and Carol. Jack started his scouting adventure as a wolf with Pack 333, where he earned his Arrow of Light, then bridged to Troop 507. Our paths crossed again shortly after his joining Troop 507. I had the opportunity to spend a fair amount of time with Jack while he was with the troop, because Jack, Mason, and Cole joined 507 at the same time. Looking back when Jack and the boys joined 507, they were so young, and then to look at them now, the transformation is amazing. When a scout joins Troop 507, one of the things that Mr. Moe and Divine have them do is get up and introduce themselves to the troop. So these little guys have to line up with these faint little voices in front of the whole troop. They have to introduce themselves, they have to talk about the school that they attended, and they also have to step up there and they have to ask, Mr. Snow and Divine will ask them if they want to join Troop 507. And Jack, of course, answered yes with that little faint voice, and here we are now. It seems like just a moment ago for me, but to Jack, I'm certain, and to these boys, I'm certain that was a long time ago when you stood up there in front of the troop. In fact, the reality is it's about 7, 8 years for some of you guys. It's a long time in your lives, considering the fact that you're 18, maybe 19 years old. So it's a long time with 507. We appreciate that. You guys have been phenomenal with the troop. I led many summer camps with Troop 507. Jack attended many of those trips. In fact, I roomed with Jim on a number of these trips. Sorry about that, Jim. I remember the first summer camps when we, as leaders, and we'd have to take the boys and we'd have to literally shepherd them and herd these cats to their merit badge classes, make sure they, number one, found the place, and number two, went into it. The hardest part was, though, herding the cats into the showers, which would be about every 2 to 3 days on a good trip. And some of the boys would go all 5 with nothing. So I think you guys held up at least a 2 or 3. So thank you. Fast forward a few years, when Jack and the other scout is here today, we are celebrating, attended one of the few Scout High adventure camps, Northern Tier. The trek required the boys to travel 75 miles over the course of 6 days, through the water, via canoe, on land. The hardest thing about it is the boys, there's no vehicles to haul their stuff around. They are the vehicles. And so in between the land and the water, the boys would have to portage their canoes, to carry their canoes and their gear, which I'm sure was probably one of the highlights of the trip. They encountered storms. I'm sure they enjoyed campfires together and had countless laughs over the trip, I suspect. A far cry from those young scouts we had to shepherd along from classes to showers, etc. The last camping trip I led, summer camping trip that I led for the troop was Emerald Bay. Jack attended the ACE program at Emerald Bay, which is called the Alternative Camper Experience. It's not the traditional merit badge classes, go goof off with your friends, hit up the snack shop, go goof off with your friends, go harass the scoutmasters in the afternoon and in the evening, and then go to sleep somewhere around 11 o'clock after usually one of the scoutmasters or leaders comes to the elevation. So on this trip, it's quite a bit different. The boys basically led themselves with a younger camp leader there from Emerald Bay. Again, Jack and his fellow scouts from 507 used the skills that they acquired with the troop to enjoy an independent, fun-filled week on the island. At Emerald Bay, the boys mountain bike, kayak around most of Catalina Island, sleeping on the beaches with just what they had on their person. On the trip, the boys did scuba diving, snorkeling, and I might have heard of some unsanctioned jumping off of rocks, cliff diving into the ocean, but I think that was just a rumor. Again, a far cry from those little scouts with those little voices who had to muster the courage to speak in front of the troop. Throughout Jack's time in Troop 507, Jack served as attendance coordinator, a scribe, orderly arrow rep, patrol leader, assistant senior patrol leader, and senior patrol leader. I'm sure each of these positions has helped teach Jack the different skills and traits that he carries today. In total, Jack has been on 29 camping trips, amounting to a total of 100 camping nights. He's attended 23 Eagle Scout projects in addition to his own. Spent over 60 hours on various service projects in our community during his time in Scouts. Additionally, Jack attended the National Youth Leadership Training Program and the National Advanced Youth Leadership Training at Philmont Scout. For Jack's Eagle project, as Mr. Moe described, he built seed houses for the Hockamonga Nursery. And the seed houses are huge. Like he said, 16 feet in length, 5 to 6 feet in width, and 5 or 6 feet in height as well. He put plumbing in there, he put the locks on there, he cased the whole thing in mesh in order to protect some oak trees that are eventually used to repopulate the Hockamonga Basin that they're working on so much right now into a more usable space, not only for people, but yet a better space for the animals and for our environment. So, good job on that, Jack. I'm certain Scouts has played a role in Jack's drive in school and in the community. Currently, Jack is attending St. Louis University in Missouri, completing his nursing major, with plans to continue his education to become a nurse anesthetist. It's not an easy task, but I'm certain Jack will succeed, as he has in his past throughout his life. Jack has one more trek in mind that I know of as of today, which is he's going to attend, he's going to go to abroad for his education this next semester to Spain, Madrid. So have fun there, and really look forward to those stories. Jack, you've been phenomenal with this troop, and we appreciate all your time with us, as the rest of the boys. You're all phenomenal candidates, so congratulations. Have a wonderful day.
Would the four men who just spoke please stand up? The four of you did an outstanding job explaining who these outstanding Scouts are. Let's give them a round of applause. I now have the opportunity and quite frankly a privilege introduce Michael Van Sitters, one of our Troop 507 Eagle Scouts, one of the best scouts I've ever seen come through our troop, who's going to do Voice of the Eagle. Michael?
I am the eagle. Since the beginning of time, man has used me and my brothers as a symbol of royalty, power, victory, authority, and valor. My strength and courage have inspired men through the ages. Ancient man looked upon me as an inveterate enemy of serpents. They saw the battle between the sun and the clouds as battles between an eagle and a serpent. The ancient Assyrians associated me with Ashur, the great sun god. I was held in awe and worshipped for my majestic beauty. In the Assyrian myths, I was a symbol of storms and lightning and the god who carried souls to Hades. In India and Babylon, I was the symbol of fire, of wind and of storms, and the bringer of immortality. In the golden age of Greece, I was a symbol of victory and supreme spiritual energy. I was the sacred bird of Zeus, the ruler of all gods. The Greeks represented me with wings outstretched, holding a serpent in my claws. Thus, I represented the triumph of good over evil. In Rome, I was the symbol of Jupiter, the supreme god. The Romans saw me as the symbol of victory. The Roman legions marched under the standard of the eagle with outstretched wings. The silver eagle was the symbol of the Republic, and the Roman Empire used the golden eagle as its symbol. I became the personal emblem of the Caesars, representing supreme authority. In the Middle Ages, as falconry flourished as a sport in Europe, only kings were allowed to hunt with an eagle. The rise of Christianity brought me still more honor. To early Christians, the eagle was the symbol of ascension. This was due to the strong flight of the eagle with its gaze fixed on the sun. In early icons, I was best known as the symbol of St. John the Evangelist. In the 19th century, French troops under Napoleon gave their lives to protect the golden eagle, which supported the French flag on the battleground. On June 20th, 1782, I became the symbol of a new country. Because of my courage and beauty, I was chosen to symbolize the new United States of America. The eagle became a prominent feature of the seal of the state of the new republic. From this early beginning, I have been used in many ways to symbolize the ideals of this country. Several states have the eagle on their state flags or in the state seal. You can find me on the coins of America from the beginning to present day. I have a prominent place in America. The emblems of the president, vice president, several cabinet members, and most branches of the military center on the eagle. From the god of the Assyrians to the symbol of the Caesars to the emblem of this country, it was thus fitting that the eagle should have a part in the most momentous achievement of man. The Apollo 11 crew chose Eagle as the name for the lunar module which was to make history. And with the words of Eagle Scout Neil Armstrong, Houston, tranquility base here, the eagle has landed, man was on the moon. In 1911, following tradition as old as man himself, the Boy Scouts of America chose the eagle to symbolize the very highest of achievements. Through all of history, I have been the symbol of man's best. Now the eagle is the symbol of scouting's best.
Thank you, Michael. That was outstanding. I now invite Troop 507's Senior Patrol Leader, Jacob Hart, back to the stage on the 100 Scouts.
100 Scouts. Of any 100 boys who become scouts, it must be confessed that 30 will drop out in their first year. Perhaps this may be regarded as a failure, but later in life, virtually all of these will remember that they have been scouts and will speak well of the program. Of the 100, only rarely will one ever appear before a juvenile court judge. 12 of the 100 will be from families that belong to no religious affiliation. Through scouting, these 12 and many of their families will be brought into contact with the church, synagogue, and mosque, and will continue to be active all of their lives. 6 of the 100 who will enter the ministry. Of the 100 will learn something from scouting. Almost all will develop hobbies that will add interest to them throughout the rest of their lives. Many will serve in the military and in varying degrees profit from their scout training. At least one will use it to save another person's life, and many will credit it for saving their own life. 2 of the 100 will reach Eagle rank, and at least one will later say that he values his Eagle badge above his college degree. Many will find their future vocation through merit badge work and scouting contacts. 17 of the boys will become scout leaders and will give leadership to thousands of additional boys. 1 in 4 boys in America will become a scout. It is interesting to know that of the leaders of the nation, in business, religion, and politics, 3 out of 4 were scouts. Today we honor 4 scouts. We know the things they've done in the past. Imagine what they will do in the future. With today's Court of Honor, 234 scouts from Troop 507 have now achieved the rank of Eagle Scout.
Thank you, Jacob. At this time, I'd like to call Michael Devine to the stage. Both of us are Troop 507 Scoutmasters, and together we will present the Eagle Awards. Before that happens, I wanted to note that what binds these 4 Eagle Scouts is their life-changing Northern Tier high adventure trip that Mr. Ferreira talked about that they took in July of 2019. Northern Tier is the oldest of the 4 national high adventure bases operated by the Boy Scouts of America in Boundary Waters, Canoeberry Wilderness, on the Minnesota and Canadian borders. These Eagle Scouts ended up canoeing and portaging more than 75 miles in Minnesota and Canada due to the determination and persistence of Russ Stanton and Jim Robinson to provide 5 young men, Craig, Dylan, Timmy Jack, and Ryan Stanton, an unforgettable trip of a lifetime. They left as boys and returned as men. Congratulations to you on that outstanding trip. Mike?
Would you please stand up and bring the chairs behind you? Put the chairs behind the table. And before the front, stand up.
Craig, Dylan, Jimmy, and Jack, before the Eagle Award is bestowed upon you, I'm going to ask that your parents join us on the stage.
Scout spread out a bit.
The time has finally come, and the honor of pinning your eagle on your uniform rightly falls to the persons most responsible for you being here today, your parents. It is now time to present formally this high badge of accomplishment. By the authority vested in us by the National Court of Honor of the Boy Scouts of America, it is our privilege to pronounce you an Eagle Scout. It is a distinct honor to present you with the Eagle Scout Award. I will ask each mother of the Eagle Scout candidates to pin the Eagle Scout Award on her son. has undoubtedly been the greatest source of inspiration in your quest for your Eagle Scout Award. As a symbol of what your mothers have made possible, the court will now ask Craig, Dylan, Timmy, and Jack to present their mothers with the Eagle pin. Your fathers have stood by you over the years and have offered you encouragement and assistance. As a symbol of what your fathers have contributed to the attainment of this award, the court will now ask Craig, Dylan, Timmy, and Jack to present their fathers with the Eagle pin. May I congratulate you again, and may I remind you that scouting should now become an even greater tie between you and your parents, binding you even more closely as a family. Parents, you may return to your seats.
Russ Stanton, will you please come forward to give the Eagle Scout charge?
Having had the great pleasure of paddling across the Great White North with you gents, I now have the honor of giving you the Eagle Scout charge. The Boy Scouts of America has determined that you are worthy of this honor, and we are here today to celebrate your achievement. Over the past 114 years, scouting has been one of the most meaningful and significant movements in the world. An Eagle Scout, as you well know, is a position of honor and responsibility. In becoming an Eagle Scout, you are willingly taking on an obligation to do your duty to God, to your country, to your fellow scouts, and to humanity. This is a great undertaking. By living up to your obligations, you bring honor to yourself and to scouting. Today, I charge you to undertake your citizenship with solemn dedication. Be a leader, but lead only toward the best and what is right. In everything you do, in every position you obtain, hold yourself to the highest level of service to God and your fellow citizens. Live and serve so that those who know you, and even those who don't, will be inspired by your actions. There are many who use their skills and abilities to exploit others for selfish gain. I charge you to be among those who dedicate their skills and abilities to the common good. Among other things, this involves continuing to build our country on the solid foundation of clean living, honest work, unselfish citizenship, and reverence for God. Whatever others may do, you will leave behind a record that every scout can be proud of. I now ask you, Craig, Timmy, Jack, and Dylan, to stand and make the scout sign and repeat after me. I reaffirm my allegiance to the three promises of the Scout Oath. I reaffirm my allegiance to the Scout Oath. I thoughtfully recognize and take upon myself the obligations and responsibilities of being an Eagle Scout. I realize my obligation to my fellow men and women, my home, my country, and my God. I will at all times do my best to assist others, to live with honor, loyalty, courage, and service, and to be a living example of the Scout oath and law. To the best of this ability, I pledge my sacred honor.
By the authority vested in me by the National Court of Honor of the Boy Scouts of America, it is my privilege and pleasure to once again pronounce each of you as Eagle Scout. May the oath you have taken remain graven on your heart forever. Congratulations. Mike and I are now going to ask each of you to speak for the first time as a recognized Eagle Scout. We'll start with Fred McLaren Swan.
Good evening, Scouts. Thank you all for being here today. It's wonderful, and it's an honor to be here. When I joined Troop 507 in September of 2014, I was new to middle school just up the street. I didn't know anybody from the troop. I didn't have any developed hobbies or interests, but scouting quickly became my thing. Scouting has changed my life in unimaginable ways, and it's been a catalyst for so much personal growth and lasting friendships. It would be on my first trip to Sequoia National Park where I meet Jack Robinson. I remember this because it was on the drive back where Jack got car sick, which of course led to me getting car sick, leading to a handful of side of the road stuff. Throughout the years, I'd made more friends, and those friendships have proved to be strong. Specifically, as a result of the Northern Tier trip, Dylan, Jack, and Timmy, along with our fifth man, Ryan, would become my closest friends in the troop. That friendship is why we decided to hold the Sport of Honor together. Oh boy. I want to speak briefly to the younger Scouts in the room. Maybe not that much. But you might be a little bored right now. You're probably on the table of cupcakes over there. So keep this quick. I'm on it too. Scouting is an exceptional organization, and this is a really special troop. Take advantage of it. Go on every trip you can. Go to the Eagle Projects. Go to the meetings. Sign up for the merit badges. Progress through the ranks. I'm telling you this because I distinctly remember one senior scout in particular who made scouting fun for me. Helping in this project and watching him make Eagle was inspiring. He was like a big brother to me. Now that I'm here too, I won't lie, pretty cool. So I want all of you to finish too. I've been out of the scouting world for 2 years now, and earning my Eagle Award has been a unique accomplishment because I've only grown to appreciate it more. The lessons, experiences, and mentorship scouting has provided me have served quite well in my academics, relationships, and personal goals. I believe every single scout in this room has the ability to make Eagle, and I promise it'll be well worth your time. I'm truly honored to stand here and receive this praise and recognition, but I'm only here because of the support of others. I want to thank again all the scouts at Troop 507 for upholding the values of scouting, which has fostered an environment of fun and growth. Scouting has provided a much needed outlet away from school for me. I want to thank you, Scouts, for electing me senior patrol leader back in 2019. Serving as SPL was a challenging but rewarding experience. Strengthened my communication and public speaking skills, along with testing my time management and organization. If the opportunity to serve as SPL or even ASPL presents itself, I highly recommend all Scouts take advantage of it. Scouting is a journey, and it's the guidance, wisdom, dedication, and patience parents and adult leaders that make scouting what it is. So I have a lot of people to thank. My first year at summer camp was a little bit rough. I didn't have strong friends in the troop yet. Being away from home was hard, and I was a rowdy little kid. Mr. Alvarez served as a mentor and kept me in line when I needed it. He talked me through homesickness, helped me stay on schedule with my merit badges. Mr. Alvarez, you truly are a special person. Thank you for everything you did for me. As some of you may know, we lost Mr. Alvarez a year ago. His absence is greatly felt. We miss you. Mrs. Smith, you are an incredible person, and this group is beyond lucky to have you. Mrs. Smith was the only adult leader on the 2019 summer camp trip to do the BSA mile swim in the ocean, an undertaking that is not to be scoffed at. So I lose the mic, is it? Is that? All right. She's been a merit badge instructor many times for me, and her enthusiasm and positive attitude is contagious. Mr. Crawford, I owe you an immense thank you for your help on the Eagle project. Mr. Crawford is an expert craftsman and woodworker. When building the storage cubbies for my project, he helped me reshape my mediocre design into a sturdier and more resource-efficient construction. He helped me source the materials, and he gave up many Saturday mornings to help the build come together, and then offered his pickup truck to deliver the finished product. His generosity with his tools, knowledge, guidance, and time were paramount, and I would not have been able to complete my project without his help. I'll bet that most of the recent Eagle Scouts and those who are working on their projects now can attest to this. Mr. Crawford is legendary. Mr. Stan and Mr. Robinson. In 2018, I was lined up to go to the Philmont Scout Ranch in New Mexico, where I, alongside these guys, planned to do about a 50-mile trek. As a group, we did about 20 miles in training heights, and we received our well-earned blisters and sunburns. We had our gear, we had our route, and the train tickets. We were all set to go. Unfortunately, wildfires in the area led to a cancellation of almost all the Philmont treks. Mr. Stanton is not one to quit that easily, though. And despite the disappointing news, he brought to us the proposition of visiting a different high adventure camp, the Northern Tier in Minnesota. And thus began our preparation for what would be an even better adventure. The Northern Tier was awesome. Undoubtedly the best that scouting has to offer. Seriously, if you get the opportunity to do it, please take advantage of it. Mr. Stanton and Mr. Robinson served as the adult leaders on the trip. And I think it's safe to say that our crew put them to the test. In particular, I had eyes much bigger than my stomach, and I really wanted to get that 100-mile patch. I think these guys were about ready to throw me overboard 3 days in. That Northern Tier trip brought with it many funny moments, but Mr. Robinson brought probably the funniest. So when canoeing between multiple bodies of water, you must form a portage, which is you get out of your boat, into the water, get your shoes all wet, put in your backpack, and you pick up your canoe and you carry it to the next lake. Sounds fun, right? On our route, we averaged about 7 portages per day, ranging from a few hundred feet to one that was almost half a mile. Many of these portages were done in the rain, too. Towards the end of one of the most grueling portages, there was a steep, muddy, rocky incline, which dropped into an immediate decline where we could then get our boats back in the water. So a big steep hill and a big drop-off point right into the water. Mr. Robinson was behind me on our portage, and upon reaching this incredibly inconvenient land formation, I hear, "And that's just wrong." And I couldn't stop laughing, and it became a running joke for the rest of the trip. So what? So why would we put it right there? It's really an extraordinary experience. And Mr. Robinson and Mr. Stanton gave up an immense amount of time and energy organizing, training, and participating, so really thank you. Mr. Henderson, I want to thank you very much for the much-needed guidance throughout my scouting years. The National Jamboree is a 3-week trip. While touring, we walked probably upwards of 8 miles a day. And then at the event itself, getting just about anywhere required a hike. I packed 2 pairs of Vans skateboarding shoes. I vividly remember Mr. Henderson's disbelief in my choice of footwear. Fair enough. But about 6 months after Jamboree, it was Mr. Henderson who approached me about Philmont. He informed me it was a challenging but rewarding adventure. However, if I was interested, I would need to invest in some hiking boots. As disappointing as it was, Philmont didn't work out. Had I not signed up to train for it, I don't think I would have gone to Northern Tier. So I want to thank Mr. Henderson for suggesting I challenge myself to a physically demanding high adventure camp. I'm almost done. Got a lot to say. Mr. Henderson was also my instructor for the personal fitness merit badge. And I distinctly remember one specific line: plan the work and work the plan. A simple yet eloquent statement that is synonymous with the Scout motto. I think about that line frequently. So thank you, Mr. Henderson. Mr. Fagan, you were there from the start. I vividly remember working through the early rank requirements review, and that guidance was key. Mr. Fagan, unlike anybody else I know, has an unparalleled capacity for patience and understanding, while simultaneously projecting an aura of gravitas and firmness. Mr. Fagan has high expectations and will hold you to them, but he won't for a second make you feel inadequate. He's understanding of the mistakes, but he'll expect you to learn from them. This duality makes for a strong instructor. During one long car ride, I believe it's the American River for whitewater rafting, Mr. Fagan instructed the scouts in the car on how to use radio bus, how to operate it, the appropriate commands, and callbacks to use, and was thorough in making sure every scout in the car knew exactly how to use it, was fully capable of it in the event of an emergency. A seemingly trivial exercise or unlikely emergency, but the way in which Mr. Fagan patiently expected excellence is a trait of an exceptional mentor. I strive to be like that. Mr. Fagan, I cannot thank you enough for your wisdom and guidance over the years. Mr. Blaine, thank you for the kind words today. Really. I was almost tearing up over here. Thank you very much. Mr. Mullen, Mr. Devine, I cannot express in words how grateful I am for your dedication to scouting. The support and guidance, especially through the final years of scouting, was immeasurable. My Eagle Project came with a wide variety of complex and dynamic challenges, and having such knowledgeable, resourceful, and devoted mentors is what enabled me to complete my project successfully. Now, having lived 2 years outside of the scouting world, I've grown to appreciate and understand the value of the Scout oath and law, and how they fit into developing the man I want to become. Thank you sincerely for instilling those values in me. Mrs. Chersey, as we all know, this group could not operate without you. You are the backbone of 507. And while much of your work is done in the background, I think anybody who's reached a senior rank understands how valuable and continuous your contribution is, and how unparalleled your passion for scouting is. So I want everyone to stand up. A big thank you, Mrs. Chersey. Thank you, Mrs. Chersey. And really, I could stand up here all day and talk, but Mr. Hart, Mr. Pereira, Mr. Bender, Mr. Palaku, Mr. Powell, so many people helped me get here. And whether it was little things like talking to them in a meeting or riding with them on a car ride, you know, those little things add up, and it really helped me get to where I am today. I want to give out mentor pins to everyone in this room, but I can't. So I want to present my mentor pins to Mr. Devine, Mr. No, and Mrs. Chersey. Lastly, Mom, I have a lot to thank you for. From little things like driving me to and from the meetings for many years, to doing the 20-mile backbone trail twice, not to mention the other 100+ miles combined of hiking and cycling, while serving as a merit badge instructor for those badges. I was dead set. I want all three. I'm not just getting swimming. I'm not just getting all three. But I needed someone crazy enough to teach them. Thank you, Mom. From teaching merit badges to serving as the troop's adult training coordinator, you helped not only me, but many other scouts advance. And last but not least, of course, thank you, Mrs. Powell, Mrs. Park, Mrs. Robinson, and Mrs. McLaren for organizing and hosting this Word of Honor. Scouting really is a special organization, and it's provided a lot of value in my life. So I want to thank all of you for helping me get here.
And an even greater privilege to celebrate this moment with my Northern Tier crew. As you guys know, the four of us, along with Ryan, Mr. Robinson, Mr. Stanton, took on a 75+ mile trek, canoeing across the Great Lakes in Minnesota and a little bit into Canada. This was one of the most memorable trips I have ever done. As we canoed along the water, the views were just spectacular. Something you would not be able to find off the side of the road. And I think if every scout has the chance to do a trek at Northern Tier, they should take the opportunity to do it at least once. Personally, I don't see myself going back after experiencing the ruthlessness of the mosquitoes. By the end of the trip, I counted just over 100 mosquito bites on myself, but I think Timmy had a little bit more. Nonetheless, it was truly an amazing trip, and I couldn't have asked for a better group of friends to do it with, and I'm so happy to celebrate once more with them. Achieving the rank of Eagle and being the person who I am today would not be possible without many notable people. I'd like to thank our Scoutmasters, Mr. Bowe and Mr. Devine, for all your guidance and commitment. Thank you for taking the time out of your regular jobs to come with us on trips, host meetings, and so much more. Without you two, this troop would not be as great as it is. Other adult leaders I'd like to thank are Mr. Robinson, Mr. Stanton, Mr. Pereira, Mr. and Mrs. Bender, Mr. Romo, Mr. Chersey, Mr. and Mrs. Alvarez, Mr. Fagan, Mr. Henderson, Mr. Ford, Mr. Moon, and Mr. Pawaki, who all taught me so much throughout my scouting days. But most importantly, I'd like to give a huge thank you to Mrs. Chersey for all your advice and long-time commitment to the troop and to us scouts, making sure the troop runs as smoothly as it does. You're the real backbone to this troop, and I admire your dedication. Most of all, I'd like to thank my parents for always having my back and pushing me to do my best. The both of you have been my biggest supporters from day one, helping me through some of my toughest times and giving me the encouragement to get back up and keep going. I'm truly so lucky to be able to call you guys mom and dad. And although you had to nag me a lot, I hope I wasn't too much of a pain in the ass. Surely it's not as much as Connor. And Scouts, if I could just leave you with some advice that I didn't really fully pick up on myself until recently, it's that you should listen to your parents. It's ironic that it comes from me because I argue with my parents the most, but it doesn't mean that you can't have an opinion or not do what you want, how you want. It really just means that listen to what your parents have to say and actually consider it. Hearing our parents, for lack of a better term, nag us can be frustrating at times. Believe me, I know. I think my mom's number one at that. And if I already lost you at listen to your parents, at least remember this. Your parents have walked this path of life before, and those who really push you as hard as possible are the ones who care about you the most, because they believe in your abilities to succeed in whatever that may be. Plus, in the end, by listening to your parents, you may say them from through gray hairs. For my parents, it's already too late, but you can stay yours. Lastly, I'd like to thank you again for all coming, and thank you to the moms, Ms. McLaren, Mrs. Park, Ms. Robinson, is my mom, who helped set everything up. Thank you.
Timmy Park, you're next.
Hello. I would like to start off by congratulating my fellow Eagle Scouts, Dylan, Craig, and Jack, for their incredible achievement. We all met at Movement here, a trip that you guys have all heard a lot about already. It's a week-long canoeing trek through lakes of Minnesota, and I'm so thankful for having the opportunity to talk to them and connect during that trip. And also, I'd like to give a huge shout out. Thank you to Mr. Sand and Mr. Robinson for making that trip happen. Mr. Sand, I've known you all my life, and you've been able to see me grow up inside scouting and outside scouting through baseball. I just can't say thank you enough for everything you've been able to do for me in the spring and the summer and all those tournaments. So thank you. And I'd also like to give a huge shout out to my family. So thank you for supporting me through my scouting journey. Whether it was helping me saw a Pinewood Derby card, taking me to den, patrol, and troop outings, or sewing the patches on my uniform, I can't thank you enough for the endless support you give me each and every day. There are a multitude of adult leaders that shaped me into who I am today. To say a couple, Mr. Carrera, Mr. Ford, Mr. Moon, Mr. Kawaku, Mr. Henderson, Mrs. Chersey, of course. Thank you so much, Mrs. Chersey. And I know that I couldn't have done any of this without them. There are so many that have taught me so much, and without them, I wouldn't have nearly the amount of knowledge and maturity I do now. Now, I'd like to tell you a story, because I believe I've had the most tumultuous journey to Eagle Scout ever before it was here. It is about September 2020, and the troop is slowly starting to revive again and begin online activities. I had told myself that Boundary Waters would be the finale to my scouting experience. So, I sent an email to the Scoutmasters, Mr. Mo and Mr. Devine, telling them I was leaving the troop and asking if I could meet them in person to thank them for their time and effort they directed towards me. Well, 1 hour-long meeting later, I came back to my parents saying, I think I can do this. Mr. Mo and Mr. Devine believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. It is their tireless dedication to me and every single scout under their care that makes this troop what it is, and for that, I thank you. Now, I've strived in my young life to pursue a wide range of interests: sports, music, public speaking, scouting, and more. Each has provided me with the opportunity to see something in myself, as well as grow more mature and well-rounded. From hitting in the batting cage to practicing saxophone late at night in my room to rehearsing speeches in the school library, I've explored my character and played to my strengths, testing myself non-stop until I understand myself that much more clearly. But nothing has driven me to become a better young man than Scout. When I first became a Cub Scout,
I was doing it because it was fun and I had friends in it. I didn't realize there were life lessons attached to the uniform. But as I progressed through scouting and grew older, those lessons became more and more apparent. As a Boy Scout, I prepared for anything and everything. Scouting is generally tied to outdoor experiences, and it was those same outdoor experiences that led me to bridge to Troop 507. I wanted to backpack in the middle of the woods, or bike down mountains, or attend summer camps, and so I did. Going on trips with Troop 507 meant going on trips without my family, something I had only done a couple of times in my life. So, when I stepped onto the bus to go to my first summer camp at Camp Shea Valley, I had many, many fears and doubts. However, a weeks-long journey through a multitude of merit badges and adventures reassured me that I could indeed fend for myself. It is on these trips that I learned to be prepared. I didn't have to rehearse everything in my head, but I did have to know how I'd react to any situation. And there were plenty of places where that was put into action. The most memorable actually occurred on the Boundary Waters trip with my fellow Eagle honorees. We just gotten off our canoes and were prepared to complete another portage, lugging our heavy gear from lake to lake. However, in our haste to get moving, we left a canoe unattended in the lake, which began to float away. I never rehearsed how I would retrieve a canoe floating away from me, but I did know exactly what I would do if it did happen. So, I swam after the canoe about 15 yards out before pulling it back to the shore. It is moments like these that tested my ability to be prepared, and I am so thankful that Scouting has provided that foundation for my critical thinking skills. Because learning first aid with Mr. Pereira isn't just learning how to treat for shock or wrap a sprained ankle, it's learning how to think more clearly in times of emergency. Sitting in on Mr. Fagan thoroughly explaining complicated terms for citizenship in the world isn't just about the badge on the sash. It's becoming a more informed and thoughtful member of society. Scouting is unique in the sense that it will actively test knowledge as you learn it, a beautiful process that leaves no doubt in your mind that you know it. Because when the time comes, nobody will pull out the book to tell you how to tie a bowline in danger. You're either prepared or you're not. I can confidently say that each and every one of us here have been prepared by the amazing adult leaders in this troop to respond to every situation thrown our way. These outdoor skills are pivotal, but the most important thing I learned in scouting is about other people. I learned to communicate with others at a level that was never required before in my life. And I am so glad I acquired that skill early. Because regardless of whether I'm at the campsite, baseball field, or classroom, I'm surrounded by people I need to be on the same page with on a consistent basis. Learning and teaching within Boy Scouts has given me the communication skills I need to keep up with the world around me, a fast-paced, dynamic world that requires effective communication constantly. Being an Eagle Scout has taken a lot of perseverance, drive, and consistency from me. It's because of scouting that I became confident in myself, continuously appreciating achievements while still pushing towards the next goal. It's because of scouting I learned to be a better leader, how to be prepared, how to speak and act towards others. And most importantly, it's here I learned how to learn from others with an open mind and a willing soul. That being said, I once again thank each and every one of you for supporting us here today, and I couldn't be more grateful to receive this prestigious award with my most respected peers. Thank you.
Jack Robinson.
We're almost there. Bear with me. Thank you everyone for coming today, what is not only a significant day for myself, but my fellow Eagle Scouts up here on stage as well. Today is about celebrating the hard work, dedication, and achievements of our scouting career. It is also about how we will decide to carry all that we've learned in scouting into the future as well. I remember first joining as a Cub Scout and immediately becoming fascinated with what Cub and Boy Scouts were. The first time I put on my Cub Scout uniform, I remember feeling a sense of pride. This is the first time I was given the opportunity to represent something bigger than myself. I also remember wearing my Cub Scout uniform all day, even to dinner. And my mom even worried that I was already going to stain my uniform. As I progressed throughout Cub Scouts, I began to learn more about Boy Scouts and and how it was the next step of my scouting career. After I achieved my Arrow of Light, I joined Troop 507 after attending only one meeting. I saw the respect, fun, brotherhood, and sense of adventure shared with all the boys. I knew that it was the right place for me. Collectively, I have a total of 100 camping nights, and I remember every single trip. Each trip opened my eyes to new experiences, friends, memories. Even today, my friends and I from Scouts still talk about our adventures and our experiences throughout Scouting, and I look back fondly on the memories we created. If I had to choose a favorite camping trip, however, it'd have to be our Northern Tier trip, which you have all heard plenty about. During this trip, we set out into the pure wilderness, canoeing over 75 miles, where we had to find our own campsites along the shore, ration our own food and drink, and carry upwards of 75 pounds of packs and canoes on our backs. And of course, apply countless amounts of bug spray. Through that trip, I feel I was able to understand what it truly means to be a scout, a leader, and a brother, with some of what I consider to be some of the finest men I know. While sharing food, tents, canoes, and wet socks together for 24 hours and 6 days is undoubtedly going to bring people together, I feel we all grew more during that trip together. Northern Tier is what I consider to be the pinnacle of my scouting career, and I am honored to have had the opportunity to go with these scouts here today. Whether it's going whitewater rafting along the American River, scuba diving with guides, or learning knots from Mr. Mo, or simply sleeping on the beach with my friends, each moment has allowed me to make countless memories and pick up countless skills and life lessons. My advice to the younger scouts is this: listen, lead, follow, grow, learn, and of course have fun. Scouting is and always has been more than just camping trips and hanging out with your friends. If you allow it, scouting can help you grow in more ways than one. Going on those longer camping trips or taking important leadership roles in the troop could be some of the most rewarding choices you make throughout your scouting career, because those opportunities give you the chance to learn more about your own capabilities and grow into the best version of yourself. I know that younger scouts need guidance, and when I first joined scouting, even if I was that first form of guidance for just young scout, I consider my scouting journey to be worth it. Scouting helped me become the leader and person I never knew I could be. Because of my time and journey throughout scouting, I've become the man I am today. After attending my first Eagle project, I remember saying to myself, I can do this. And I remember being so impressed with the professionalism, skill, and leadership of scouts during their project, and I knew it was a goal I could and would attain someday. Years later, here I am, finally an Eagle Scout, standing alongside some of the men I respect the most. Deciding to work towards the Eagle project throughout the years has been one of the most rewarding decisions of my life. After completing my project, I understand the significance of what it means to be an Eagle Scout and what it represents. Being an Eagle Scout symbolizes the essence of what Scouting teaches and hopes to impart on young boys becoming men. Through Eagle projects, Scouts have the opportunity to display all that they have learned throughout Scouting and lead others using their required skills, leadership, and character. I know what I've learned throughout Scouting I will carry with me for the rest of my life. And because of Scouting, I can honestly say that I've grown in every aspect of my life. Scouting has taught me that the strength of someone's character is what matters, and the only person we can control or change is ourselves. Scouting has also taught me, however, that it is not only the responsibility, but the duty and obligation of a scout to better the community and the world around it. I'm going to miss going on new adventures, sitting around the campfire with my friends, and Mr. Devine called me Jumping Jack every time I see him. But I'm also optimistic and excited about the future, because I know Scouting has taught me and prepared me for the future, whatever that may hold. Throughout my scouting journey, Mr. Devine and Mr. Mo have always been reliable and trustworthy sources of help. Both of them exemplify what it means to be a scout, leader, friend, and inspiration to countless boys over the years. I know without their help, I would not be here today. Similar to what Dylan and Craig said to Mrs. Cheersey, I literally wrote this: Mrs. Cheersey is the backbone of the troop. always working to help us in work that too often may go unnoticed. Her smile, kind and helpful words, and work in the troop have always been greatly appreciated by me, and I know her work is what keeps her going. My mom has always been a great source of strength and help for me, an example of that unending help is planning this event today. Her unending support is what keeps me going and pushes me to become the greatest I can be. My dad, who you all know has been so involved during my scouting career, is who made sure I would be here today. It is because of this endless nagging and pushing for me to complete Scouts that I first felt the need to complete Scouts. I remember not being sure at first as to why my dad enrolled me in Scouts years ago, but I do now, and I will always be grateful for it. Our countless camping trips, Scout store visits, and shared memories continue to be my favorite adventures in life today. Sorry, guys. Thank you all for everything you've done for me over the years. It truly means everything to me. Scouting and the people involved shaped me into the best leader, man, and character version of myself I am today. I know Scouting will always be a prominent aspect of my life, and I can say honestly, I am proud of that. I am, was, and will continue to be proud to be a Scout. Thank you all for being here today. I know it means everything to us up here for you to be here to celebrate with us.
Scouts who are in the audience, these 4 scouts represent what you want to become. I would encourage the audience to look over the notebooks that each scout prepared as part of his Eagle project that are in the rear of the room. I especially encourage the scouts who are seeking to become Eagle to look at the books to get an idea of what you need to do to get there. I started this court of honor with the words duty, honor, country. In William Manchester's book, American Caesar, Mr. Manchester recounts the speech given by General Douglas MacArthur at West Point upon his return to the United States from Korea. Douglas MacArthur's speech at West Point is considered one of the 100 most important speeches of the 20th century. He spoke to the Corps of Cadets of duty, honor, country. Boy Scouts who achieve the rank of Eagle Scout understand the concepts of duty, honor, country. These 4 scouts understand duty, honor, country. So now I close this court of honor. In his letter to Timothy, St. Paul wrote, I have fought the good fight, I have finished the race, I have kept the faith. And watching these scouts over the past many years, Craig, Dylan, Timmy, and Jack have fought the good fight, have finished the race, have kept the faith. At each scout meeting at Troop 507, we end the scout meeting with the last line of the Scoutmaster's benediction. All the scouts who are here, who are members of Troop 507, know the last line. However, I suspect none of them have heard the full prayer. Accordingly, I'm going to end my remarks today with their prayer and ask you to please bow your heads. Always remember that the Lord gives strength to those who are weary. Even young people get tired, then stumble and fall. But those who trust the Lord will find new strength. They will be strong like eagles soaring upward on broad wings. They will walk and run without getting tired. May you soar. May God's breath fill your wings and carry you to your destinies. May you continue to grow in wisdom, in stature, and in favor with God and men. May you keep yourselves physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. May you lead by influence and not title alone. May you lead with that tenuous mix of humility, strength, and example, not force. May you build into the lives of other young men, future Eagles with whom you come in contact for all your days, And may the great Scoutmaster of all scouts be with us again until we meet again. Thank you for being here for this Court of Honor. Congratulations to these scouts.